Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai, Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembly Lord. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So the following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Verse 20. So that's Canto 1, Chapter 2, Verse 20, recorded on July 24th, 1974 in New York.
Manasaha, of the mind. Bhagavad Bhakti, devotional service of the Lord. Yogataha, by contact of. Bhagavat, regarding the personality of Godhead. Tattvam, knowledge. Vijnanam, scientific. Mukta, liberated. Sangasya, of the association. Jayate, becomes effective. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man, rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord, gains liberation from material association, mukti, and comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead.
Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavat bhakti yogata Bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jaya. Bhagavat tattva vijnanam. It is not sentiment, it is vijnana. Vijnana means science. To become a devotee does not mean a sentimentalist. Sentimentalist has no value. One who has, there is sentiment, that is emotional sentiment, just like this child is dancing. It is not sentimental, he has no sentiment, but is dancing from the spiritual awakening. This dancing is not dogs dancing. This is one who is feeling love of Godhead, he is dancing. The more one feels love of Godhead, he can dance, he can chant, he can cry. There are so many, 8 kinds of ashtashatvik vikar, transformation of the body, tears in the eyes. So, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. Jnanam me paramam guhyam jad vijnana samanvitam. Krishna said to Brahma, Jnanam me paramam guhyam. To know about Krishna, it is very, very confidential. It's not ordinary thing. Vijnana. Therefore, many scientists, they are also joining our movement. Many doctors of philosophy, chemistry, they are understanding this is a science. And the more you make propaganda, the higher circle of the society, learned scholars, professors, scientists, philosophers, they enjoy it. And for them, we have got so many books. We have proposal to publish 80 books. Out of them, we have published about 14 books. So it is a science. Otherwise, why Srimad Bhagavatam has devoted 18,000 verses for understanding? In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Dharma projita koitavatra. The cheating, sentimentalism, the so-called religious system is projita, is kicked out. There is no such place here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Projita. Just like you brush something with broomstick or something and throw away the dust. Similarly, the dusty thing, so-called sentimental religionism, is not here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a sign. Paramam Guhyam. Very confident. To understand Krishna is not ordinary thing. Krishna said, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jatati siddhaye jatatama visidhyana kaschid vetimam tattva. So, this truth is understandable through Krishna or through Krishna's representative. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya Saktamana Pratha Jogam Junjana Madasraya. Madasraya. Madasraya means under me. Actually it means, Madasraya means one who has taken the shelter of Krishna, or one who has surrendered to Krishna without any reservation. He is called Madasraya, or one who has taken shelter of Krishna perfectly. So this yoga, this bhakti yoga, as it is said here, Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. So Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga can be learned when one takes fully shelter at the lotus feet of a Bhagavad Bhakta. That is called Bhagavad. You cannot become Bhagavad Bhakta independent without caring for your spiritual master. That is nonsense, that is rascal. You will never be able. We are singing daily, Jasaprasadada Bhagavat Prasad. But you do not know the meaning, unfortunately. Jasaprasada, if the spiritual master is pleased, then Bhagavan is pleased. Not that independently. Jasaprasada, in the 10 kinds of offences, the first offence is Guru Ravagya, disobeying the orders of Guru. And especially Guru's business is to preach Krishna consciousness, and a person blasphemes, a person who is preaching all over the world Krishna consciousness, that is the greatest offense. But we are reading 10 kinds of offences, Gurbasta, and the gurus. Do you know the meaning? What is that? Sri Guru Charana Padma. What is that? Song? Read it.
Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadma,
Ah.
Bandhon Me Savadhana.
Savadhana mate. It get clear. You sing this song, do you know the meanings? No. Who can explain the meaning? Yes, you explain.
Sri Guru Charana Padma means the lotus feet of the Guru. Kevala Bhakti, he is a reservoir of all devotion of bhakti. Vanda Muli Savadhana means that we worship him with great awe.
Read the other lines. Jahara prasade bhai, then
E Bhavatarya Jai.
Bhavatarya. If one is, to say, favored by Guru, then the path to cross over the nescience is clear. Jahara prasade bhai, Bhavatarya. Then next line.
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy.
And Krishna Prapti Hai Jahate. By the favor of Guru, one gets Krishna. This is the Jasya Prasadan Bhagavad, everywhere. This is Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. So one who has not attained this stage, what is this Bhagavad Bhakti? It is Raskirda. That is not Bhagavad. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. It is a kind of yoga, or the real yoga. Topmost yoga system is Bhagavad Bhakti, and Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga begins Adu Gudbasrayam. First of all, surrender to Guru. Tad vidhi pranipatina pariprasnena sevaya. The official initiation has no meaning unless one who has fully surrendered to Guru. There is no question of initiation. Dibbagyan hriday prakashit. Dibbagyan is transcendental knowledge. So to play tricks with Guru, to become diplomat and intriguer, these rascaldom will not help Bhagavad Bhakti. You can get some other things, some material profit, but spiritual life will be spoiled. So this Krishna consciousness movement is for spiritual enlightenment, not for have to get money, have to earn money. This is the Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches, na dhanang na janang na sundaring kavitang vajagadisha kama. Na dhanang. The materialists, what they want? They want money. They want many followers and many subordinates, or nice, beautiful wife. This is materialism. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refuses. No, I don't want money. This is teaching. Na dhanang, na janang. I don't want to rule over somebody. No. Na dhanang, na janang, na sundaring kavita. A poetic imagination of nice, beautiful wife. These things I do not want. What is? Then Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. Mama janmani janmani shari bhavatad bhakti rahit kirtai. Then Bhagavad Bhakta do not want even liberation. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying janmani janmani, birth after. One who is liberated, he does not take any more birth in this material world. Those who are impersonalists, they merge into the effulgence, bodily rays of Krishna, And those who are devotees, they get permission to enter into Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. So, if you want prasanna mana, always jubilation, that is spiritual life. Not that always morose, making some plans. That is not spiritual life. You don't find any materialistic person jubilant. He is morose and thinking and smoking cigarette and drinking, making some big plan. That is materialism. And Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Prasanna Manaso. And the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kankati. Prasannatma. This is spiritual life. As soon as you become actually in spiritual life, never mind either you in impersonal philosophy or personal philosophy, both of them are spiritualists. Only the difference is the impersonalists think that I am spirit, God is spirit, therefore we want to emerge into this. Sajujya Mukti. Krishna gives them Sajujya Mukti, but that is not very safe. Because Anandamaya Abhyasa, Ananda, real Ananda cannot be realized oneself. There must be two. Love does not mean I love myself and meditate upon love. No. There must be there another person lover. Therefore Dvaitava. As soon as you come to the bhakti school, there must be Dvaitava, two. Krishna and Krishna's devotee. And the exchange of Krishna and Krishna's servant is called bhakti. The dealings, that is called bhakti. Therefore it is said, Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata. Not monism, oneness. There is always the bhakta, devotee is trying to please Krishna. They are just like gopis, the topmost devotees. Their only business is to please Krishna. That's all. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended Ramya Kachid Upasana Brajavadhu Varga Bhija Kalipina. There cannot be a better method of worship than the process which the gopis adopted. They did not care for anything. The gopis, some of them were engaged in household affairs. Somebody was talking with husband, sometimes taking care of the children. Some of them were boiling meal. As soon as there was Krishna's flute, everything left from there. Where you are going? Husband, brother, father, where you are going? No, don't care. Krishna's flute is there. We do not know anything. This is devotion. This is the highest, topmost. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strict that a woman could not come very near to offer him obeisances from little distance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a sannyasi, he was so strict. Of course, that should be the principle. But especially in your country, that cannot be very strictly observed. But at least one should be very careful. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strict, he is eulogizing the gopis' love of Krishna.
So that Gopi's love is not ordinary thing. It is transcendent. Otherwise, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciates? How Sukadeva Goswami appreciates Krishna Lila. This Krishna Lila is not ordinary thing. It is spiritual. So unless one is situated firmly in Bhakti Yoga, they should not try to understand what is the pastimes of the gopis with Krishna. That will be dangerous. Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Rupo Raghunatho pade hoibe akuti pabe hama bhujhava Sri Jugalapiriti. Jugalapiriti, the loving dealings between Radha and Krishna. Jugal means couple. Piriti means love. So Narottam Das Thakur exalted Acharya. He said, when I shall be able to understand, not that now I have understood everything. Now I have understood everything. This is a Vijnana, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana. So we should be very careful to understand the science. And the science can be understood through the mercy of the spiritual master. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Jasya Prasad. First of all, try to please your spiritual master. Then try to understand. So, it is a great science. Tad vidhi panipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Upadakshanti tad jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. This is the process. First of all, surrender yours. Sir, I have surrendered it. All right. Now I don't like it. What is it? What is this surrender? Now I don't like it. That means there was no surrender. Surrender does not mean, now I surrender, and if you do not please me, if you do not satisfy my senses, then I don't like it. That is not surrender. Surrender, the example is given by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, dog. Very good example. The dog surrenders to the master fully. Even the master kills him, he does not protest. This is the example. Vaishnava Thakur tomar kukur boliya jano ho more. Vaishnava Thakur, my dear, my revered spiritual master, you are the best of the Vaishnavas. Please accept me as your dog. That is surrender. So, real surrender begins, Maya Saktamana Pratha Jugong Jingyan Madasray. Asray loiya bhaje, Krishna tare nahi taje. One who executes devotional service, taking shelter of bona fide spiritual master, Krishna will never give him up. Relax it. Asray loiya bhaje, Krishna tare nahi taje. Are sab more akara. Others, they will simply waste their time. That's all. So this is Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. Ado Gudbasam Saddharma Picha Sadhu Marganu Gamanam. Everything is there in the devotional service, in the nectar of devotion, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we are publishing. If we do not understand, if we think that these books are for sale, and we are all learned. We have learned everything, finished, our business is finished. That will not improve the condition. prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yoga, bhagavad tattva vijnanam. It is a science. As you learn science, just like our Sarup Damodar, doctor, some he is now doctor. We have got another doctor in Nivindam. He is also science. He is done. So, if you want to take the doctorate title, that is also the surrender. There are committees, 3-4 main committees. When they certify, yes, this is all right, this thesis presented by such and such, it is approved. Then you get. So everywhere there is. Tad vijnanatham sa gurumeva avigachet. So if we are not serious about understanding the science of Krishna, if you take some opportunity to become this, to become that, and to make some money and this and that, then your whole thing is finished. For opportunists, there is no Krishna consciousness. For the real surrender soul, madasra. So, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, everyone we are, at least we have enlisted ourselves to become graduate in Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana. This is the process. Madasraya, Krishna says. Madasraya means Yogam Junjang Madasraya. To become under Krishna, or that is not possible because without taking shelter of Krishna's servant, Gopi Bhattu Padakamalo Daso Daso Dasan, we have to become servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Not aspiring, I shall become directly servant of Krishna. That is Mayavad. Our process is the servant of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches the servant of the, this more one has become servant of the 100th generation down, he is perfect. So, try to understand Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayati. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, this science who can understand? Mukta Sangasya. Mukta means liberated and Sangha means association. So, association means we are contaminated by the material nature. Sometimes we are good, sometimes we are passionate, sometimes we are rascal. There are 3 gunas. Some of them are very good, and some of them are passionate, and some of them are rascals. So we have to transcend even the platform of so-called goodness. That is called Mukta Sangha. Because in the material life, we are always associating with these gunas, 3 qualities. Gunamayi, Maya. Daividhesa Gunamayi, Gunamoyi. Guna, these 3 gunas. So it is very difficult. Sometimes we are in the platform of goodness, then we fall down in the passion, then we fall down in ignorance, or some ignorance rise again in goodness, and again fall down. This is going on. But therefore, you have to become Mukta Sangasya. Above all these qualities. Above all. I am very good man, I am good manager, I am this. You have to surpass that also. That is called Mukta Sangha. But that Mukta Sangha is possible when we are sincerely engaged in devotional service, just like the deity worship. The deity worship means gradually to become Mukta Sangha. But deity worship is essential. There is process, you must rise early in the morning, you must take bath, you should offer Mangalarti, then after that, dressing, flowering. In this way, if you always remain, then gradually you will become Mukta Sangha. The turn, as soon as you begin devotional service, that is the stage of Mukta Sangha. If you do not fall down, if we strictly follow the instruction of spiritual master and the Shastra and be engaged always in devotional service, there is no question of fall down. That is called Mukta Sangha. But if you deviate, if you do not like, then you will fall down. So, when you become Mukta Sangha begins, the chance is there. If you follow, if you don't follow, then you fall down. But if you remain on the platform, then we shall be able to understand what is that? Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana, the absolute truth about the Supreme Law, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. So, I am very pleased that we are doing nicely. I am traveling, I have seen in all temples. So don't deviate. Don't deviate from the instruction given by your spiritual master. Make that your life and soul and follow the regulatory principles, chant 16 rounds, you will never fall down. Mukta Sangha. Then gradually Krishna will be revealed. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so we've listened to Srila Prabhupada and we will try and see how much we have actually listened. The whole purpose of this exercise that we do every Monday is to see if we have actually listened, because many a times we are present, but we are not present. Srila Prabhupada used to say that. When his disciples used to come for him with, for a walk and that, sometimes he used to say, you are physically present, but mentally you're not present. And I think that happens with all of us. Sometimes mentally we are just somewhere else. So we will try and see what we have taken from today's class. But before we start, we'll just recite some prayers. Om Ajnanathimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai. Oh, thank you so much. Jai, thank you. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnatai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai. Okay, so today's class was on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 20. This was given in New York by Srila Prabhupada. So actually, I mean, always when you listen to Srila Prabhupada's classes, there are instructions. But maybe I felt it today because I was actually listening when I don't normally listen. But today there were really strong instructions, a lot of very, very strong instructions. And let's see if we kind of remember all of them. So first, when the class started, and I'll just recite the verse before we actually start. So it's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 20. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord gains liberation from material association, mukti, and comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. So, right at the beginning of the class, Prabhupada is establishing that this is science. This is not sentimentalism. Sometimes people think just, when we come here to the temple and there's kirtan going on and devotees dancing, sometimes it may come across as sentimentalism. Prabhupada is establishing that it is not sentimentalism, it is science. And he actually gives a very, very strong analogy or example here. He says that the child is dancing, but you cannot compare the child's dancing to a dog dancing. It is not the same. He says that. So don't think that just because, we are dancing or we do certain things which may come across sometimes to people who don't understand it as sentiment. This is not sentiment. It is science. And he goes on to establish that throughout his class, that how it is science. He talks about how, because it is science and because it is such important knowledge and, it is not just something that anybody can understand, very intelligent people are taking to it. You remember he talks about how doctors and philosophers are coming to this. And then he mentions something very interesting. He says that we are publishing books for such kind of people. So what struck me was that when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, the whole idea of these books is, it is not meant for somebody who will not understand Krishna consciousness. It is meant for people who will read the books and then will take to Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada mentions, obviously, he says, we are planning to publish 80 books, we've published 14 books, and all of these details Prabhupada is giving. And then he says that one cannot understand Krishna. And he quotes the verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Anybody remembers the verse that he quotes? Bhagavad Gita 7.3. If I give you the number, you should remember. 7.3. Yeah, of course, Govinda Prabhu. Please say it loudly for all of us.
Manushyanam sahasrashru
Kaschid yatati.
yataditsadaye yatatamapisiranam kachitmam veti tatpataha.
So you cannot just understand Krishna. It is not easy. In the Bhagavad Gita, actually this thread is common throughout, where it says that you can't just understand Krishna. It is not easy. However, then Prabhupada goes on to quote that, but you can understand Krishna how? If you take ashraya. He quotes the verse 7.1 where he says, just the 2 lines he quotes, but the main thing is about mad ashraya. If you take ashraya, if you take shelter, then you can understand Krishna. Shelter of who though? You take shelter of who? Yes. So the whole, in this particular lecture, Prabhupada is talking about how you cannot directly take shelter of Krishna. You have to take shelter of your spiritual master. So then the importance of Guru is spoken about. Importance of the Guru Ashtakam, the song that we sing every morning to glorify the spiritual master. Prabhupada goes into quite a lot of detail of that. And I think we won't go into that detail because obviously we just have 10-15 minutes to discuss. But Prabhupada goes into the detail that you are singing this song and he directly asks his disciples who were sitting there, do you even know the meaning of this song? Right? And then he asks his disciples to quote the song, quote the verse, and also give the meaning for it. Obviously, just before the class, we all recited the English translation and we sung the song. So we won't go into that detail, but Prabhupada is asking, do you even know the meaning? And then very strongly, he talks about initiation. What does he say about initiation? Formal initiation. What does he say about that? It has no value. Formal initiation has no value. But it will have value if we surrender. Complete surrender. Complete surrender. Very important this point is, because yes, we all may get initiated and we may take that step, but unless, like Mataji is saying here, unless there is complete surrender, Prabhupada is saying here, it has no value. No value at all. Zero. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And that is why many times when we hear devotees, saying that, but I've been in the process for 20 years and 30 years and 40 years. But the problem is, and I'm not talking about other devotees, I'm talking about myself, is there complete surrender? If there is no complete surrender, we cannot complain. Right? So Prabhupada strongly talks about that. And then he goes on to talk about what is Krishna consciousness meant for. What is Krishna consciousness meant for? He quotes Mahaprabhu, a hint. So what is Krishna consciousness meant for? Yes, purification. And Prabhupada says, yes, Srinivas Prabhu.
Prabhupada said, according to the Shikshastika of Dadadav, Dajadav, Dasudarim, Kavitav, Jagadishaya.
Yes.
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 That's our process of surrender.
Correct. So Prabhupada is quoting Mahaprabhu and he's saying that we don't even want liberation. Because Mahaprabhu is saying, Mama Janmani Janmanishvara. He's talking about lifetime after lifetime. What do we want lifetime after lifetime? Devotion to Krishna. We don't care about liberation. We don't care about merging into the effulgence. We don't care about all that. What does a devotee want? A devotee wants service to Krishna. Lifetime after lifetime. So he's quoting that, right? And then he goes on to quote about, Prabhupada speaks about, what is the symptom of a person who is following this spiritual path? What is the symptom? Do you remember? He says one word. Yes, Prabhu. Oh, there is Prayojan Prabhu and then there is David Prabhu.
He becomes good at everything. He can sing and dance.
One quality, but he quotes a particular thing. Can we pass the mic to Prayojan? Oh, brilliant, Prayojan Prabhu. You just said it. He's jolly. Prasannatma. He's always prasanna. He's always happy. And then Prabhupada actually gives like a small paragraph where he talks about, he's talking about a materialist is never prasanna. He's not happy. He's always thinking how he can sort this problem and that problem and that problem. But a spiritual person is prasanna. He's always jolly. So that actually is the symptom of a devotee. So if that is the symptom, then I am not a devotee at all. I'm trying. Because I'm not prasanna. I'm always worried. Anyways, so then, and then Prabhupada talks about, and this is very interesting, because many a times we talk about impersonalism and how we are against impersonalism and that's not right. And Prabhupada here says that impersonal or personal, both are spiritualist. You see, he says this, that both are spiritualist. They are both trying. What is the difference though? The difference is that an impersonalist will never be Ananda. You know the feature of the absolute truth, Sat Chit Ananda. So the impersonalist may gain the Sat and Chit, but he will never be Ananda. And why is that? To be Ananda, to be happy, to have a relationship, you need two. You can't have a relationship with yourself. I know a lot of people, I don't know if others do it, but you may stand in front of the mirror and say, which is one of the things, positive affirmations. I love myself. I am good at this, it's one of the things that is advised, which is great. You can do that. But that still does not give you the happiness, the ananda. So Prabhupada is talking about that in our bhakti. The main thing about bhakti is there is, and he uses the Sanskrit word, two, dvaita. So there's two. There's a relationship. There is a give and take. It is not just one person. And that is why we can experience ananda, right? Then we speak about, or we hear Prabhupada speaking about the highest form, and that is the gopis, right? Mahaprabhu is glorifying the gopis. And Prabhupada also actually gives this point to us that Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. He very strictly follows the sannyas code, where he doesn't allow ladies to come close and all that. But he is glorifying gopis. That is the highest form of devotion. And Prabhupada goes on to say about how the gopis, sometimes they are busy in their household work, they are, feeding the children, or they are cooking, or they are doing, various activities. But as soon as they hear Krishna's flute, they drop everything and they run to Krishna. And that is the highest form of devotion. So Prabhupada has spoken about how understanding Krishna is very difficult. It's not easy. Then he talks about how the highest form of devotion is, what the gopis have. All of these things he said. And then he says that how then will we understand this science? So we've spoken about the science, we've spoken about how it is difficult, we've understood that the highest, devotion, or who shows the highest devotion, is the gopis. And then he talks about how can we understand this science. And so he quotes this very famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure all of you know it if I give you the verse number. Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshantate jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. So, again, the point comes about surrender. Surrender to your spiritual master. If you approach Krishna through your spiritual master with surrender, then you will be able to understand Krishna. And then Prabhupada gives the example of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. What does Bhaktivedanta Thakur say? Let me be a dog. Right? And Prabhupada says how a dog is completely surrendered to his master. And he gives this, he says, even if the master kills him, the dog will not say anything. He will just accept it like that. So we have to come to that level of surrender if we want to actually understand Krishna. So again, Prabhupada talks about the thread is the same that he's talking about Mad Ashray. Gives the example of Dr. Swarup Damodar, where he says that even if you want to get a doctorate, you have to surrender to a committee of 3-4 people who will look at your thesis and say whether yes, it is fine, yes, you're awarded the degree and things like that, right? Another important point that Prabhupada talks about is that to think that I can become directly the servant of Krishna is Mayavad philosophy. What we believe in is that we become the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. We cannot directly serve Krishna, right? So that's that. And then finally he's talking about Mukta Sangasya. So what do you understand about that? Because he talks quite elaborately about Mukta Sangasya. So let's see if any of you would, because otherwise it's a one-way talk. What do you understand? Yes, Cyrus Prabhu. Cyrus Prabhu, please take the mic so everybody can hear it. Yes, thank you.
It speak about Mukta Sangasa in relation to falling down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you follow this, then you won't fall down.
Yes, yes.
Like engage in morning program and things like
Yes, yes, yes. So Prabhupada goes on to talk about how Mukta Sangasya is only possible if one is following sincerely the process and is sincerely engaged in devotional service. And then he talks about deity worship and why that is. Yes, Mataji. Yes, yes. Correct. Yes. Yes, so he talks about deity worship, rising early in the morning, coming for the Mangalarti, following the procedure, following, chanting your 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles. And that way then, and he also talks about don't deviate. If you surrender today and you say that, yes, I will follow everything, and tomorrow you say, but no, I don't agree with this, that is not complete surrender. So he's talking about complete surrender, where you don't deviate, you follow everything that is set out for you. So it's past 8:30, and I will just summarize because we've already heard Prabhupada speaking. So in summary, what Prabhupada is talking about in today's class is, first of all, that please understand that this is science, this is not sentimentalism, right? And then he talks about that in order to then understand this science, for everything you go take education, material world. So same way, to understand this spiritual science, you have to take shelter of Guru, of a bona fide representative of Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Yes, yes, I was coming to that. Yes, correct, yeah. Money, yeah. Yes, yes. So when we spoke about why did we come to Krishna consciousness, and where he quotes Mahaprabhu, he says that, all of these, and he says we haven't come to Krishna consciousness to make money. So in summary, so I was saying that, so yes, we have to take shelter of Guru, we have to take Ashraya. And he also says not Ashraya directly of Krishna, but Ashraya of the bona fide representative. There should be complete surrender. Without that, you will not be able to transcend the gunas, the modes. So, Prabhupada talks about how all of us are affected by these 3 modes of material nature. And he talks about ignorance and passion and goodness. And then he says it is not even enough to be in the mode of goodness. You have to even transcend that mode if you want to progress in your Krishna consciousness, right? And then again he speaks about Mukta Sangasya, because Sangasya is you are associating with these modes. If you keep associating with these modes, then you will not become Mukta. How will you become Mukta? By performing devotional service. And then of course we spoke about this, that how you have to follow the process. So in summary, these were the main extract from today's class, that you have to follow the process, try and get out of the association or associating with the modes of material nature. For that, Prabhupada has given us this wonderful process of deity worship, rising early, taking shelter of Guru, very, very important, complete surrender to Guru, very important. Do not take this as a sentiment, it is a science, it is not a sentiment. So understand it in that sense also, and only then you will be able to make progress in your Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.